Y me da muchísimo gusto saludar por la videollamada a Craig Erlam. Él es Senior Market Analyst para el Reino Unido y en la región EMEA de OANDA. Y lo busqué a Craig para que platicáramos acerca de lo que se está sabiendo de la situación de Evergrande. Ya hoy por la mañana se tenían que hacer el cumplimiento de algunos pagos de la deuda de esta compañía. Eran a instituciones financieras internacionales. Entonces esto causaba gran expectativa acerca de lo que iba a ocurrir. Y pues bueno, precisamente por eso buscaba a Craig. Hi Craig, how are you? Good morning for us, good afternoon for you.
Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you?
Really well. I was telling the audience that we reached out with you so that we can talk about the situation of Evergrande, this company that is one of the biggest in the sector of infrastructure in China, and that today they had to make some debt payments to international finance institutes, and there was a lot of expectation so that they could, if they were going to make them or not.
So at this moment in time, it's yet to be seen. The interesting thing with this is that there was two payments due today. One to domestic investors, yuan-based loans, repayments, and that an agreement has been reached. And that's one thing that gave the markets a big boost yesterday. The fact that they've reached an agreement on that repayment provides hope that more agreements will be able to be reached that avoids default. The dollar-denominated repayments we're yet to hear about, and this is the one that's going to be the story to follow. The positive thing from Evergrande's perspective is that no repayment today doesn't automatically mean a default. There is a 30-day grace period. So this could be a story that carries on for a few more weeks yet, at which point we will hope that some restructuring process will be in place, which means that the company does not default on its debt and a sustainable solution is found.
Me decía Craig que la historia que se está viendo y que hoy era importante era porque se tenían que dar dos pagos. Uno era el local al cual se logró un acuerdo y esto pues da fe de que no haya un default de esta empresa que es Evergrande. Lo que falta por ver si ocurre es si el otro va a suceder o no, y esa es la historia que se tiene que seguir porque también se puede tener un periodo de 30 días de gracia. Entonces es importante mantenernos viendo esta situación. Craig, the next question I think that we need to ask is what would happen if there's a default of this company? There has been a lot of analysis around this situation for the past couple of days, and there were at the beginning there were expectations that it could be something as big as Lehman Brothers. Then those expectations were lowered because we all started to see the financial reports of this company, and you could see that the debt was focused on local institutes in China, so that the impact wasn't that big as Lehman Brothers, but there would be some countries that were going to be impacted nevertheless. So what can you tell us about that?
So I think first and foremost, the thing to point out is nothing is ever entirely contained within China. China is the world's second largest economy. It's the world's biggest trader, and it's incredibly important to the region. So anything that impacts growth in China impacts everybody to a certain extent, and particularly Southeast Asia. So that's one thing to note. The issue is China, though, primarily because of the booming property industry, because the property sector accounts for up to a quarter of Chinese GDP and Chinese growth. So any deterioration here would have significant repercussions. And then there's the prospect of a credit crunch because the size of the loans we're talking about to banks, financial institutions, and individual investors amounts to around $300 billion. So this is a significant implication of any default that we could see on these bonds, the knock-on effects it would therefore have on the ability to attain credit, the impact it has on other property developers in the country that are borrowing at higher rates already, and also the supply chain issues, then the impact it has on any company that has close ties to Evergrande and what it does to their personal balances as well. So there is massive knock-on effects that could come within China as a result of Evergrande being allowed to default or even worse. And therefore, it is a solution that is going to need to be found. The answer to the question is, what will that solution be? The Chinese government is going to have very little appetite to just simply bail out Evergrande, the people who run the company and their investors. So you can imagine there's going to be pain that's going to spread around for any solution that is going to be forthcoming.
Interesante lo que me comenta Craig, porque yo le hacía el señalamiento que pues hace unos días empezaron a haber análisis y señalamientos de que podía ser tan grande como Lehman Brothers. Después pues ya se bajaron esas expectativas y se señala que el efecto puede ser dentro de China, y le preguntaba que cuáles podían ser sus repercusiones y para las naciones también cuáles serían estas que podrían ser afectadas. Él me señala que nada va a ser completamente contenido en China por cuestiones de la manera en que actúa su gobierno, y también donde va a focalizarse gran parte de este impacto es en el área del sureste asiático. Por el boom de cuestiones de infraestructura que hubo en China, va a haber grandes efectos que pueden afectar a algunos inversionistas que son pequeños. Y hay que recordar que esta empresa tiene una gran deuda que son $300,000 millones, 2% del PIB de China. También uno de los grandes impactos que se va a poder observar tiene que ver con la cadena de suministro. Toda la gente que está relacionada con esta empresa pues va a sufrir, y pues dentro de China es donde se van a sufrir los efectos de este problema. El gobierno además pues actualmente tiene poco apetito para poder ayudar a Evergrande. Craig, the next question I think that we need to ask is today, if you watch the Wall Street Journal in the morning and other newspapers, they are telling that the China government is not going to help this Evergrande, and they are telling everybody that they are going to make this default a little bit organized. I think that we could tell that it would be a default or an organized default. What can you tell us about that?
So, the restructuring discussions are happening, it seems. Obviously, there's very few reports out there to actually confirm what is exactly happening, but it does seem that restructuring discussions are taking place. Perhaps that will mean the company being broken down into smaller parts, some being taken, may potentially under government control, becoming state-owned. It's very difficult to say at this time. A lot of what we're seeing right now is going to be purely speculation. But one thing that is going to be clear is that those in charge, those responsible, are not going to benefit from any restructuring that happens. I think that so much is very clear. China has a massive focus right now on moral hazard, and they do not want to contribute to moral hazard in the country after years of opposing it. So this is an unfortunate situation. It's a situation that China did not want to have to be dealing with, and I imagine they are going to very much want to make an example of Evergrande, not save them.
Craig Erlam, Senior Market Analyst para el Reino Unido y la región EMEA de OANDA, muchísimas gracias por habernos acompañado. En la última respuesta nos comentaba que yo le preguntaba más bien acerca de qué iba a suceder, si el gobierno la iba a ayudar o no, que en el Wall Street Journal y distintos diarios internacionales pues se había dicho que era muy factible que no hubiera apoyo del gobierno, y él me lo confirma. Dice, nadie sabe qué es lo que está sucediendo, existen charlas, puede ser que se divida en pequeñas partes o que se convierta en propiedad del gobierno. Dice, no va a haber quien se beneficie de esto, y hay un punto muy importante en China. Hay una oleada de cuestiones morales que China pues está buscando, y esto se ha visto en distintos sectores, y aquí lo hemos platicado. Insisto, muchísimas gracias por habernos acompañado. Craig Erlam, Senior and Market Analyst de UK EMEA de OANDA. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.